In this lecture, we're going to quickly discuss Vue's ESLint rules. In the past, I've had students complain about some of the rules from ESLint. You may not be a fan of them. In this case, it's perfectly fine to disable rules. Let's explore how that's done. In our project, we created a component called appAuth. All our components will be prefixed with the word app. Otherwise, ESLint may complain about our components' names. Components must be multi-worded. If you're not a fan of this practice, you can disable this rule. Let's try breaking this rule. In your editor, rename the component from appAuth to auth. Next, inside the component, scroll to the exported object. Change the name to auth. Afterward, the app component must be updated to reflect these changes. Open this component in your editor. Scroll to the script block of the component. The import statements must be updated. Rename the component name from appAuth to auth. Up next, the component's object must be updated to the new component name. Lastly, scroll to the template. The tag for our component can be renamed to auth. Great! We've renamed our component. However, ESLint is not going to be happy. Switch back to the auth component. The editor is throwing an error. If we hover our mouse over the error, it states that components must be multi-worded. In the error message, a link for the rule can be found. Let's click on it. Vue has a documentation page dedicated to each rule. You can read the description for a complete understanding of this problem. However, our goal is to disable this rule. Rules can be disabled by updating the configuration file. Before opening the file, we must copy the name of the rule. Copy the heading, which contains the name. Head back to the editor. Open the ESLint rc.cjs file. At the bottom of the file, add the rules object. Next, paste in the name of the rule as the property name. Lastly, set the value to off. By setting a rule to off, it'll be disabled from our app. You can switch to the auth component to check the difference. If the error doesn't disappear, you may need to restart the editor or reopen the file. Once you've done that, the error should go away. It's as simple as that. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to leave this rule off. If you ever encounter a rule you don't like, feel free to turn it off. To verify that the rule is working, let's try renaming our components. In the Components directory, rename the app header component to header. Next, in the Views directory, rename the Home View file to Home. Lastly, rename the About View component to About. Renaming these files will break our application, not because of ESLint. The import statements for these files will produce errors. Let's quickly fix our import statements. Open the app file. Scroll to the script block. Update the import statement with the new name of the file. Next, open the router/index.js file. This file will produce errors too. In a future lecture, I promise we will review the code in this lecture. For now, let's focus on fixing the import statements. From the import statements, remove the word view. Make sure you update the import statement from within the array. Great! This should resolve our issues. Let's refresh the page. The page is functioning as normal. Errors shouldn't pop up from the page. In the next lecture, let's get back into state management.